How's it going, Hail Stalkers? Lead meteorologist John Choquette here for our 12 p.m. daily update on this Wednesday afternoon across portions of Texas and Arkansas and Louisiana, and most importantly, it looks like we actually have a pretty solid risk from what we've seen this morning. I came to the office and I was a little surprised that this risk for Dallas today is looking much better than it did about 24 hours ago. So we're going to delve into that in a moment, but first, get over a little bit of housekeeping here. Make sure you're a part of your daily routine and watch our videos every single day at 12 p.m. and you can watch them right on your app. Click on that lightning bolt in the lower right hand corner of your screen when you're on the app. It brings up the video in the corner. You want it to be full screen, see it a little bit better. Click on that to enlarge it and switch into landscape mode. You can watch the video in full screen. Also, make sure your notifications are set up. I'll say it again at the end of the video. I don't have it at the beginning here. But make sure you go into your notification options on your desktop computer, select the regions that you wish to see for any sort of messaging, and on days where we actually have a chance for some hail, it's very important to make sure you have that set up so you don't miss any texts or any sort of alerts about golf ball size hail or larger in population centers of 10,000 or more if we're mapping in your area, and of course when we have 2-star maps or greater available for purchase and to be viewed if you're already a subscriber. So let's jump right into the forecast here, guys. This is the forecast map for today, and we have a pretty interesting little swath, and most importantly, this little orange right here for the Dallas area, up to 2-inch hail possible. First time I've said that so far this year. It's looking like we actually have a pretty solid chance of storms. 15% right now. Main reason I didn't go any higher, other than just kind of butting heads with Derek a little bit, who gets super aggressive with these things. I'm keeping it a little bit lower. It's the best chance we've had so far this year, but it's still February. There's going to be better chances coming along, and I want to kind of save the higher numbers so I'm not whipping out 99, 100% or anything crazy like that with the forecast. 15% chance, a little bit lower further south you go, about 2% down in Austin. I think storms might have a little bit harder time getting going that far south. Kylene, 5%, even as far east as Shreveport. This one will be a little bit earlier in the day, probably around 4 o'clock or so. And in southern halves of Arkansas, this risk is much lower, probably up to $50 size hail in the strongest storms there. The biggest thing we're talking about here is Dallas, though, with a 15% chance, and again, up to isolated 2-inch hail. It's looking pretty solid, and I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch out of this map, and I'm going to kind of show you guys what we were seeing earlier today, show you a couple of the models, give you an idea of what to expect. Before I do that, though, I'll go in a little more detail, just Dallas specifically. I think the timeline for the Dallas area, so Dallas-Fort Worth, Metroplex, all the way up to like Denton, down further south towards like Waxahachie, Corsicana, stuff like that, probably starting around 5 o'clock in that general area. Wouldn't be surprised if a storm decided to pop up a little bit sooner than that, and then going to about 10, maybe even 11 o'clock at night. Up to 2-inch hail is going to be absolute maximum, I believe, unless something really crazy happens, which I don't think that's going to go down. I think 2-inch hail is going to be your maximum hail size today. In that 15% chance, winds probably around 60. I don't think that the extreme winds are going to be anything that we're really going to be focusing on for this particular event today. Obviously, feel free to post any comments in the comment section below, any questions you have. I think Derek is on the chat. He can answer any questions you may have that I don't see. I do have the chat from Facebook open on my phone, but I'm not really looking at the moment. I'm going to switch over to, just give me a second here, guys. I'm going to switch over to looking at the current conditions right now across the Dallas area. So start with that, and then we're going to work our way towards the models here. So we've had a bunch of rain this morning in the Dallas area. That moved through, and things starting to clear out a little bit. We have just a few more showers up behind in Mineral Wells. That'll kind of either dry up or move out in the next hour or two. And most importantly, you see in here that it's pretty warm. We got temperatures already around 70 degrees. And then if I switch from the temperature to the dew point to show how much humidity is in the air, it's pretty moist out there today. Dew points in the upper 60s to around 70. So that is the most moisture we've had in the area so far this year. This is more common for around late March, early April types of moisture numbers, and not in February. So that giving a lot of fuel for the potential for some hail today. I don't think there's going to be much in surface-based storms, probably more towards the elevated storms. But again, better for hail. You get pretty big hail in an elevated storm. and without that risk of any big tornadoes. So we have the moisture in place. If we move even a little further to the west, you can see back here the numbers get a little bit, if there's any numbers at all, get a little bit smaller. So like in Vernon, Texas, you see it's 47. So the dry line is back to the west, and that will slowly meander towards the Metroplex as the day wears on into this afternoon. So you get probably storms will probably fire back by the Mineral Wells area, possibly even further south towards Brownwood and everything, and then make their way to the north and to the east towards the Dallas area. So now we're going to jump into the models, and I can show you guys what we are expecting here. Just give me a sec, switch over to screen display. Okay, so this is one of the more recent model runs here. So this is going to also have, you're going to see weird little black lines. That's just showing if the intensity of the storm. Basically, it's showing helicity, so rotation in the storm. We look for that when I'm looking at a composite reflectivity to show what garbled mess on here is expected storms. Well, move forward. Ignore this. This is some feedback garbage at the beginning of the run here. That's not going to really happen. But you see all these storms forming out. It looks like a line. It's a little concerning, because we've seen a couple squall lines already this year, and squall lines don't really make much hail, but we see right in here, you see how the storm at the tail end of the line, the tail end Charlie, this one's starting to really take off, and boom, that boom goes right through the southern side of the Dallas Metroplex, so places like DeSoto and I don't know, Benbrook, I think, is another one that's south of Dallas. I don't know all the towns in the Dallas Metroplex yet, but a different part of the Metroplex. And again, this is, we're not going to focus on the exact locations or anything. Really, it's just kind of pinpointing that you see a storm is really going to come down to the tail end Charlie that we call. So you have this line of storms. This might make some quarter-size hail and whatnot, but the storm at the very end of the line has all the nice, rich moisture from the Gulf coming into it, and also just the force of the dry line moving through, nothing to the south of it to kind of muck things up, and you just have a good storm that should move through the area. The big question will be obviously where. That's why I only have 15%. Part of me has concern that maybe the tail end Charlie is going to be south of Dallas and much further down towards like places like Waco or even down closer to Austin. The trends have been kind of all over the place this morning with this, but the basic consistency is we have storms that do form, and then we have a couple extra storms that form afterwards that may or may not be anything worthwhile. But I think the biggest storms will be, again, this is right around 9 o'clock, and a little bit later, and then can't rule out also some halfway decent storms that make it all the way to Texarkana as this evening wears on. So I can show you guys also a little bit earlier run. I think this was the run that got me to text Derek, and he woke up to this in Las Vegas. So hail trace both here and in Oklahoma and in Las Vegas. We see quite a few. This is the other possible options. We have more isolated supercells that come through, and then this is a pretty potent little bad boy right here that would move through. And again, you're kind of showing it's been pretty consistent with just southern sides of Dallas. I think places like Denton, you may not really see much, but closer to places like Benbrook, south of Fort Worth, south, whatever the town south of Arlington is, I think those are all really in play for today. And again, anything up to 2-inch hail is very possible. And yeah, that is there's not much else to be said about that. So that's what we're expecting. If anybody has any other questions that maybe Derek may not have post anything, I can answer them. It looks like Derek's been on here pretty good. So let's see. I'm also going to take a second here, since we're on the models, to just look ahead to this weekend. There's a fairly interesting setup, possibly for Saturday, Sunday, Monday time frame. Okay, let's move out of this here. And I'm just going to show this real quick because we're on here already, and even knowing here in the weather industry, yes, we are excited about today, but I'm always looking ahead to the next one. And I know a lot of you guys, if we get a good storm today, I'm sure a lot of you guys will call tomorrow, when's the next time Dallas is going to get hit? So I can jump ahead of those questions and look ahead here. We see, okay, Friday, everything's moving forward. Watch this coming in. We have this coming in on Friday into your Saturday. We got a nice little trough kicking in. This is going to be on Sunday evening. this is very little exciting here. Seeing a nice negatively tilted trough, so basically it is favorable for severe weather. The biggest question of this setup, though, is not the large scale setup, more just moisture return. Can we get good moisture return? And if we can, then that would bring a lot more places than just north central Texas into play. We actually would have, let me just jump ahead and show you guys. We'd actually have, see, up to even into Oklahoma into play. So right now we have moisture return. If we get a little bit more moisture return, a little bit more moisture into the Dallas area, into Oklahoma, even into Kansas, we could actually see some halfway decent storms, possibly the first of a series of decent outbreaks possibly for the year. But right now it's something we're just kind of watching, something on the radar for late this weekend, Sunday, maybe even Saturday, depending on the timing of everything ejecting out into the southern plains. I can go back now to the forecast for today, because I know a lot of you guys have jumped in. We're at about 60 current viewers here, and here we go. Just give me 1 second. Doing these by myself. I don't have a producer to go ahead and change things for me. So for those of you who are just joining us or have joined us in while I was showing what was going on in the models, this is what we're expecting for today. We have up to 2-inch hail possible in the strongest storms that do happen this evening. It's going to come down to, again, the tail end Charlie. Not every storm you're going to see today is going to be a hail producer, but the one to the farthest south, and if they can stay isolated, then we could see quite a bit of hail. And the Dallas area is my pick city, Dallas Metroplex, so I guess it's a pretty broad area, all things considered. But again, 15% best risk so far this year. Year's still very young, so I'm not going too crazy, but I think it's very possible we'll actually see some kind of hail. Hopefully we can get some really big hail across Dallas. I think if I was a betting man, had to say a certain part of the Metroplex, I'd say southern half. So from I don't know the name of the highway. Sorry guys, but the if you just did like a straight line, like halfway, like from downtown Dallas, straight line across to downtown Fort Worth, and from there south, I think is going to be a better bet than the north side. Then again, I could be jinxing myself and it'll be Plano again, but we'll see. Again, we'll see how things play out. Anytime after 4 o'clock, I think more specifically for the Metroplex, probably after about 5 or 6 o'clock. Further south towards Austin and Kylene, you have a chance for some hail as well. It'll be much later, probably closer to 9, 10 o'clock. And even in the Shreveport area, you have a chance for some storms later on. This is not as much of a big hail threat, more of a wind threat. So only 5% for Shreveport. And again, everywhere in here, probably $quarter to $half size hail at maximum. Texarkana as well also has that 5% chance. And again, for the most part, this is going to be more through this afternoon and even until late tonight. Dallas area, I think if nothing really happens by about 11 o'clock tonight, you're going to be done, and that's going to be pretty much it. So that, again, that's an overview of the forecast. I can answer questions. I think Derek's been doing a pretty good job answering questions on here. Okay. No damage. All right. Okay, yeah, Derek's been doing a great job of answering questions, so that makes my life a little bit easier. And then, again, I'll just show this again for those of you who joined in a little bit later. This is just locally for the Dallas area. Expected time, again, between 5 and 10 o'clock. Up to 2-inch hail, 15% chance, and I think the wind is not going to be a huge factor today. Maybe up to 60 miles per hour. Wouldn't be shocked if there was a gust of 65 if we get a really good storm going. But I think the main threat is going to be hail today for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex between about 5 and 10 p.m. And with that, make sure you have to come to the Win the Storm conference tomorrow. If we get a big storm today, I'm sure a lot of you guys who are at the Dallas area will be kicking yourselves for being in Vegas. But you can come check out our booth and get all the details on the storms. I guarantee you, Derek will be very knowledgeable of any storms that hit the Dallas Metroplex today, even if he's in Las Vegas. So come check us out at booth 702 between 6:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. tomorrow and get all those details and maybe even look ahead to the possibility of some storms on Sunday. Come talk to us on Friday and Saturday as well, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then 6:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. respectively. And feel free to seek out Brandon and Derek. They're also going to be at other events during the Win the Storm conference after Expo hours as well. Make sure you have those notifications set up especially if you work the Dallas area. Make sure you go into notification options. This is on your desktop computer. Go to select your regions, select maybe Dallas, all states, Texas. Those are all pretty good recommendations if you work the Dallas area specifically. Get those turned on so you don't miss any of our live updates or any of the maps that we're doing, anything like that. Get those methods set up for email, for push notifications on your phone, or even push notifications on your desktop computer so you don't miss anything that we have in store for today or anywhere in the future. And of course, you're probably watching us on Facebook. Make sure you follow our posts and set us to be seen first so we pop up at the top of your news feed. So even if you do miss our live forecasts or live coverage or even just our posts about a map available online, it'll be right at the top of your news feed so you don't miss anything from us ever with the way the Facebook algorithm can be. That's all I got for you guys today. Be excited. Hopefully we get something good out of this today. And if we do have any good storms that push through the area, we will go live and do continuing coverage of any storms that happen. The timeline of it will be, hopefully I'm still here and I'm not back at my house. But if I am back at my house, I'll have my computer set up and everything to do that. We'll figure it out. We'll do live coverage if any storms do happen to be impacting the Dallas Metroplex. That is definitely the focus for today. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. Do those hail dances. Maybe we can squeeze out a pretty good storm right before the end of February here and we roar into March. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody. And I'll see you guys again, hopefully, later on this evening. Yeah, whoops. Oh yeah, one last thing. Vote for Hail Trace. Click the link in the comment section below. Vote for Hail Trace to win, Vendor of the Year. Yep, for Vendor of the Year, go on the link that the Hail Trace comments have posted below. Go vote for Hail Trace, and also check out Derek's breakout session from 5:30 to 6:15 tomorrow. There, a little bit of plug here on the video. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys hopefully later on today.